Hello, I'm Travis Klein, Assistant Director of Career Services here at Northwest Missouri State University. And today we're going to be talking about building a strong LinkedIn profile. So, starting off with the Career Services Office. So, we are here to help you with anything career related. So, that could be a LinkedIn profile, that could be finding a job or an internship opportunity, that could be resumes and cover letters, networking and making professional connections. All of those sorts of things we can do here in the Career Services Office. We are located on the Northwest Missouri State University campus. We're in Admin 130. You're also welcome to give us a call at 660-562-1250. You can email questions if you're away from campus, say doing an internship or it's a semester away or something like that. That's career@nwmissouri.edu that goes to our general account. And then we have a lot of resources on LinkedIn, resumes, all of our career related topics on our website at nwmissouri.edu/career. All right. So, first of all, thinking about LinkedIn. So, why is a LinkedIn profile important? Why is it important to have a good LinkedIn profile? So, in 2025, LinkedIn has more than 1 billion users worldwide. It is a huge platform. A lot of different professions, a lot of different areas use LinkedIn to search for jobs, to post jobs, to share professional updates about themselves. So, LinkedIn is definitely a very established platform, the most professional of the social media platforms, and definitely one that is worth your time. Out of that more than a billion users, more than 200 million are from the US. So if you are a domestic student searching for a job in the US, you're an international student looking for a job in the US, 200 million users on LinkedIn. Some of those hiring managers, some of those people who could potentially give you a job, others that are connections in the same field that you want to go into that can build that professional network, that can make you a stronger candidate, can help you build your skills. Lots of really useful folks on LinkedIn. So, definitely a good idea to have a profile no matter what your major, no matter what field you want to go into. There are a lot of jobs that get posted to LinkedIn. In fact, the job board on LinkedIn is very robust. Some jobs only make it on LinkedIn. The one of the statistics I found: 140 job applications are submitted every single second of every day on LinkedIn. So a whole lot of opportunities being posted to the platform if you're on there, have a profile, and show that you're looking for work. More than 49 million users look for jobs on LinkedIn each week. So again, huge, very active job board, very active professional kind of way to connect with other people there. And it was founded in 2003, so this has been around for a long time, more than 20 years. Definitely not going anywhere. Definitely lots of investment in LinkedIn. So worth your time, worth the effort to set up a LinkedIn profile. And we're going to have some tips here to kind of help you do that. So the first thing that I would recommend when setting up a LinkedIn profile is to have a good profile picture. So we're going to talk about these three students as we go through this profile. So these are all former career ambassadors at Northwest Missouri State University. So we have Guy in the tie there. We have Natalia in the bottom in the glasses there, and Martina is there as well. So your profile 7 times more likely to be seen if you have a professional profile picture. So really important for you to do that. It's one of the most important things you can have, especially when you're starting out, is to have a good, solid profile picture. So some tips on that profile picture. All of these images were pulled. They're all from Prexels.com, but were adapted to this presentation. So the first tip that I would say is be the only person in the picture. This is not the place for a group picture. You may have a great photo of you and some friends that has good lighting, but it's hard to tell which one you are. So make sure that you are the only person in the photo, that you're the sole focus of your profile picture because you're the sole focus of the profile. So only having one person in the profile is good. This is not the place for significant others, for children, for friends, things like that. That maybe has a place on other social media sites, but not on LinkedIn. So you want to be the only person who's in this picture so that the employer, whoever's looking at your profile, knows exactly who you are. I want to make sure, again, this is a professional networking site. So make sure that you are professionally dressed, that you are not drinking, that you're not, doing things that someone might see as unprofessional or as, unsavory, those sorts of things. Definitely a good idea. You may be at a networking event, there may be a really good picture of you, but if you've got a drink in your hand, either crop that out or choose another picture to be your profile picture. You want to make sure that there's good lighting. This is a very dramatic photo here. It looks really good, but I can't see the person's face. I don't know what they look like. And for a profile picture on a site like LinkedIn, you want to make sure you can actually see their face, that you can tell who they are from that profile. So good lighting is important. A ring light, something like that, can make a huge difference. And then having lights on in the place where you're taking it. So these artsy, dramatic shots are great. Maybe not for the profile picture on LinkedIn, though. You also don't want to use a full body photo. So again, this is a very good photo, but you would want to tighten in just on the face. So, just kind of the upper part of there, just like you would see with a normal profile picture. A full body shot typically is going to be too far away. It's going to be hard to see, and just isn't going to serve you as well. So just the profile picture, just your head, shoulders, things like that. You also want to make sure not to cut off your head. So sometimes you can go too tight. So the full body shot's too far away. If you're cutting parts of your body, parts of your head and shoulders off, you're too close. So you want to find a happy medium between the two and not cut things off. You want to avoid a busy background. This is a really cool shot. Got a really artistic picture, but it's also very hard to see the person because part of their face is covered, but then it's also a very, very busy background. So you want to be careful with that as well. Having a cityscape, something like that behind you is fine, but typically the more kind of boring the background is, the better off you'll be. That's why you'll see a lot of photo backgrounds are typically, just a very simple pattern or a single color, things like that. That makes it a lot easier. Things like a brick wall are absolutely fine, but a busy, busy, busy background with lots of patterns, lots of stuff, it can be distracting. It can kind of take away from you, which again is the point of this profile picture. And then the last tip is to smile. It does make a difference. A picture where you're looking very serious versus one where you're smiling. That smiling will make you look a lot more approachable, a lot nicer. Definitely will make a difference. So definitely, if you have a couple different shots and one you've got a nice big smile and the others you don't, the one with the smile typically is the best choice because it does make a difference in how you come across in that profile. We do, if you are on campus here at Northwest, we do have a place where you can take a profile picture. It is set up in the library on the first floor there. There's a simple blue background there that you can do. There's some really good lighting, so you can use your cell phone, take a really nice high quality photo, and then use that for that LinkedIn profile picture. There is a website here linked on the screen where you can get more information about the Selfie Studio, but it's available in the library. If the library is open, you have access to that. So definitely encourage folks who are setting up a LinkedIn profile. Maybe you don't have a professional headshot, you don't have access to someone who can take one for you. Using the Selfie Station is a really simple way to get a good profile picture. All right. Another thing that's important besides the profile picture is the headline. So this is a short, memorable slogan that is used to start off your profile. Kind of tells them what you're excited about, what you're working on, what you want to do in the future. It's kind of, if you think of like a paperback book, this is what's on the back of the book. So this is what someone would read to find out if they want to read more. So that's kind of what the headline is doing for you, or a newspaper headline to see if you want to read more of the story. So again, with our 3 students here, so first we have Natalia Martinez. She's a bilingual leader who's ready to positively impact communities, passionate about real estate investing and embracing authenticity. So really simple, has pronouns in there as well. You can choose to do that or not. It doesn't matter. But again, very small amount of words, very kind of short, written like resume bullets almost, but definitely gets the point across, talks about, so that gets across that she's bilingual, that she likes leadership, she's ready to positively impact communities, talks about real estate and investing, and then authenticity. So 3 really strong points made in very small amount of text right here on the headline. Martina has hers, she is a Spanish speaker, so hers is in Spanish. So, has something about UX, UI in there, different things like that. Definitely, again, a lot of information very quickly written there. And then finally, Guillermo, his is more simple, mechanical engineering student, supplemental instructor and leader at the college that he transferred to for graduate school, and then different things like that. So definitely lots of information that you can pull out of these. So having a nice, impactful, it's kind of like your summary of qualifications on your resume, or your professional summary that starts off the resume. Just a really quick way to start off to kind of set the tone for the rest of your profile. Lots of guides to do this. Don't just rely on AI to write these either. They can certainly help you draft things and iterate on them, but have it be authentic, something that comes from you that will make a difference. Having a summary is also a good idea as well, kind of describing what motivates you, what your skills are, what you're looking to do next, those sorts of things. You can include your relevant work, your extracurricular activities, things like that. So again, looking at a couple of different ones. So Guy here has a quote from Carl Sagan that kind of talks about that, relates that back to himself, talks about, where he's from, that he's pursuing that mechanical engineering degree. And then, again, kind of ends with something that he finds really important. Possessing knowledge is the key to finding your better version. And then Martina here, hers is a little bit longer, but kind of talks about, what she wants to do. So she's a world-centric UX and production designer looking for opportunities, has where she's looking, has her background information in the second paragraph, and then some past projects. So this is kind of like a cover letter, maybe that second paragraph in your cover letter, if you're putting that together, where you're kind of relating things that you want people to know. That's kind of a good way to think about that summary on LinkedIn. And if you've written a few cover letters, you can probably take some of the text from those cover letters and plug that in, use that as your summary. Or you can use your LinkedIn summary when you're making cover letters and kind of plug that in there. So it works either way, but a good way to kind of get that information across can be very short or a little bit longer, depending on what you're looking to do. Then you want to make sure you talk about your experience. That's very important to do. So again, this is kind of almost using some of that stuff from your resume, and this comes directly out of a resume here. So kind of talks about that, talks about different things that have been done, jobs that have been had as a marketing coordinator, digital media fellowship, which was an internship opportunity, and then some work here at Northwest using things in graphic design and UX with a link to see the work that was actually done by Martina. So really good stuff here. You can see kind of some keywords under skills, so that if someone's searching for that, her profile will come up in those results. Really important to do. So anything that's prepared you for your future career, just like your resume bullets, things like that, that's what you want to include on here. The nice thing is this can be a lot longer, so you can have more information on here than you would maybe have on a resume. Anything you think is relevant, this is a good place to list it. And you can make almost anything relevant if you think about those skills. So, maybe look at a couple job descriptions for jobs that you'd like to get, look at profiles of other people who have those roles and see the kind of things that they're listing, and then plug your information in that kind of fits that as well. Definitely can help and make a big difference there. You also want to make sure you're talking about your education, whether you're currently a student, whether you're a graduate, whether you're planning to continue on with your master's, things like that. Want to make sure you're listing schools you've attended, degrees that you've earned, talking about leadership positions that you held while you were attending, things like that. So again, taking another look at Martina's stuff here. So she has her Bachelor of Science degree at Northwest, but then also talks about being vice president of ISO, a leader in Ad Inc., a mentor and speaker at Lead Green, and then a member of Sigma Society. And again, using those keywords and the skills, talking about the different things that she did during her time here. But then also has, her general education courses that she did in another country, and then talking about, other information that she did, elsewhere as well. So you don't have to include high school or pre-college information here, but you certainly can if you want to. Again, any college degrees, associate degree, things like that, that's the stuff you want to make sure you're listing under education. And then recommendations are also a really good thing to have, getting these from professors that you have classes with, folks that you have classes with, places maybe that you work, either part-time or internships or campus jobs, things like that. All of these can be really helpful. Having other people recommend you, that's a really good way to, again, stand out if you're applying for jobs, if someone's considering you for a job, and then looking at your LinkedIn profile. So again, looking at one from a staff member here at Northwest, talks about, Martina's professionalism, enthusiasm, exemplifying the values and objectives of the office that she worked in, and then her positivity, things like that. So again, if I'm an employer looking at this profile and I see that there are a couple of recommendations like this from other people, I'm definitely going to be interested in this student, in this candidate. I'm going to want to reach out. I'm going to want to talk to them. So getting, coworkers, classmates, professors, managers, different things like that to do these definitely is a good thing to do. Just add some kind of heft to your thing. You can say a lot of things about yourself, but if other people are saying it about you, especially folks that were your boss or your coworker, that makes a big difference too. So these are kind of like references, but they're much less work for the employer to read. They don't have to email or call somebody to ask questions. They can just read the recommendations right here, which again, there's a lot of power in that. So definitely worth your time to try and get some of these. You don't have to have a ton of them, but having at least one from someone you've worked with definitely is not a bad thing as you set up your profile and kind of move into the phase of looking for jobs and things like that as well. Other things that you can add, additional skills, certifications, languages that you speak, different things like that, anything you think an employer might be interested in. So a couple of examples of this. So Guy has that he speaks English and Portuguese. So again, as an international student, it's important to put the language that you speak, that they're native profession, native proficiency with each of these. That can be very important, especially if it's a company who has maybe a headquarters in Portugal or an office in Portugal. Maybe there's travel involved, things like that. That's important to do, or in Brazil or other places where they speak Portuguese. Natalia has event planning that she did, through here at Northwest, which I, as a former employer, can endorse that skill. Also talks about Google Sheets and kind of where that information came from. So again, this can be more technical things that you have. And then Martina has got, actual licenses and certifications that she's gotten. So, proficiency at Kaplan International Languages in 2018, other things that she got from Cambridge International Education, things like that. So again, anything you think that helps give you an edge, you can make sure that you add those to the profile, and that can be a good idea as well. And then you want to make sure that you customize your URL. So you'll get a default URL just like you do with any other social media platform, but you have a chance to customize that to make it easier to find. And if you're putting your LinkedIn profile link on a resume, having it be Travis1278931 like is not as easy for an employer as Travis A. Klein. My middle name's Alan, so Travis A. Klein is, a pretty unique one that probably isn't taken. I could do the full Travis Allen Klein. I could do Travis Klein, 1999, since that's the year I graduated high school, whatever it would happen to be. Make it easier for an employer to find it. Use as few numbers as possible. You'll show up better in Google searches that way. You also want to make sure that you make your profile public so that it's findable for people who are looking for you. So Natalia's is Natalia Martinez 16. And then Martinez is Martina dash her last name. So again, really easy for an employer to find that if they're looking for you, very easy for you to put on your actual resume or on your cover letter or on a business card, things like that. So having that customized URL makes a huge difference versus just the kind of generic numbers that they'll give you when you initially sign up for that profile. You also want to make sure that you're sharing examples of your work. One of the unique things about LinkedIn, it can kind of act almost like a mini portfolio site for you. And it doesn't replace a portfolio site. So definitely, if you're in a creative field where portfolios are recommended, still have your portfolio and link to it from LinkedIn. But you can also share some examples of your work. So you can upload your resume, you can have a link to your portfolio, other examples of work that you've done. So again, Martina here had her resume. This was current as of when I pulled these, so I'm sure it's been updated since then, but then also has a link to her portfolio as well. So you can see both of those. So if I'm an employer interested in hiring her, I can see that resume right there. I can go pop out, check out the portfolio. I can see examples of presentations she's given, things like that. So having all of that one-stop shopped in your LinkedIn profile for an employer makes things nice and easy, much more likely they'll look at it versus going out and searching for it. And then you also want to share news and information. So there is this social aspect of the social media platform of LinkedIn. It's not just your profile. So anytime that you get a new job opportunity, things like that, you get an internship, you win an award, you do, you get a published paper, research, things like that. You want to make sure that you're sharing those out again, so that your contacts know about it, but also so that it's searchable and it can find it. So, so like here's something from Guy talking about, getting a position as an intern with Cummins Incorporated for the summer of 2024. So lots of good information there. Has some names in there, which I think is always a good thing to do. If you can tag people, that's not a bad idea. But definitely kind of good to share that information. So it's not just your profile, you're actually using LinkedIn. It's not necessarily something you have to get in every day and do, but when you hit those kind of landmarks, things like that, certainly something that you can do. Not a bad idea, sharing that out through LinkedIn. Again, the professional kind of focus of LinkedIn makes this a more appropriate place than maybe your Facebook profile, maybe other social media sites that you have. Share them there too if you want to, but definitely make sure that you're sharing them on LinkedIn. And then you want to make sure that you make connections. So really easy to look for Northwest alumni that are out there, people who may work at in the industry that you're looking at, people that work for the companies that you're looking at, the job titles you're looking at, looking at those. So, Martina's got 500 plus connections, including, some folks here at Northwest and lots of things like that. It doesn't always have to be a numbers game, though. You don't have to be more than 500. 100 good connections also is a good idea as well. So whatever works best for you, that's kind of what you want to do, but you want to connect with other people. You don't just want your profile to exist in a vacuum and nobody to be able to see it. So make sure you set it as public, and then make sure you're sharing news and connecting with other people. That's kind of the three most important things you can do to grow that LinkedIn profile. You can also set up job alerts through LinkedIn. Again, the job board on LinkedIn is very healthy. So if you would like to do that, you can set up to where it will email you. It'll let you know with job that meets certain criteria. Does this. This is something you can do on other job boards, and I'd recommend doing on Indeed, on Glassdoor, on Monster, on all those different sites like that. But definitely doing it on LinkedIn is a good idea as well. And it'll have a spot where you can just click that link and create a job alert. Definitely a good idea. Definitely makes your life a lot easier. Saves you from having to go out and search all the time. You just put in a couple different parameters for jobs you're looking for, and they'll start kind of letting you know as things that meet those criteria get posted. So definitely a good idea on all job boards, but especially on LinkedIn. All right, so that is kind of where we're at with LinkedIn. Definitely, again, encourage students to set up a profile if they don't have one. If you need help getting started with a profile, Career Services is happy to help that. Again, admin130, or you can email that general account career@nwmissouri.edu. We also have a lot of LinkedIn resources on our website, nwmissouri.edu/career. So encourage you to check those out. And we want to help you get this set up. Again, LinkedIn can be a very valuable tool in your job search, can be a great way to start making those professional connections, and something we certainly encourage you to do. So good luck as you go to set up your profile. And if you need any help, please let Career Services know. Thank you and have a great day.